Hopefully everyone can see that. This is a recorded presentation, so what I'll do is I'll press play and you'll hear both me and Julie explain to you about Dementia UK and Admiral Nursing. And as Ailey said, please put any questions that you have in the chat or save it till the end, and we would be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Okay, and with that, I'll press play.
Sorry, Gemma, I'm not hearing anything.
I'm not hearing anything either, but I promise it was working earlier on because we did test this.
Apologies, let me bring that back to the start and try again. It might be, oh, hang on, there we go. I need to press a certain button. Hello, and welcome to our webinar on Admiral Nurse Services. My name is Gemma, and alongside me today is Julie. We are Dementia Specialist Admiral Nurses working on Dementia UK's helpline and in virtual clinics. What we will cover today is who we are at Dementia UK, what is an Admiral Nurse and what do we do, the services that we provide, and how to access support. Dementia UK was founded by the family of Joseph Levy. Joseph had vascular dementia and was affectionately known to those around him as Admiral Joe because of his love of sailing. Our nurses were named Admiral Nurses after him. Admiral Nurses first launched supporting families in London in 1990. By 1994, our charity was registered as a Dementia Relief Trust. Admiral Nurses expanded out of London and the services grew throughout the country in 1999. And in 2007, the Admiral Nurse Dementia Helpline is launched. The charity was renamed Dementia UK in 2010, and by 2017 there were more than 200 Admiral Nurses in the UK. In 2020, the charity merged with Young Dementia UK, and in 2023 our partnership with Nationwide Building Society began, which brought Admiral Nurse clinics across the whole of the UK. Now, in 2026, there are more than 460 Admiral Nurses, and further expansion and awareness in the devolved nations is planned. This is a group photo from our annual Dementia UK conference in 2025. As well as Admiral Nurses, we have a number of non-clinical departments within Dementia UK, such as fundraising, research, policy and campaigns, marketing and communications, and our Admiral Nurse Academy. We are all working together to ensure that every family affected by dementia can access support whenever they need it, and that no one faces dementia alone. So who and what are Admiral Nurses? Admiral Nurses are all specialist dementia nurses. We have all worked in dementia care throughout our careers in various settings such as hospital wards, community, hospice care, and so on. Admiral Nurses are there to support anyone who is affected by dementia, including the person who is living with the dementia, their family, care partners, and anyone else who supports them. As experts in dementia, we share practical tips for caring, offer compassionate, emotional support, and help with planning for the future. We are there when people impacted by the condition need us most. We'll now share this video with you. It shows how Admiral Nurses can support people affected by dementia and the impact that our help can have.
It changes your relationship with them.
And you worry about them every moment, every day.
Their dementia takes over
every aspect of your life.
It's a constant fear of what's next.
It's a roller coaster ride.
and that listening ear is crucial.
It helped us to move forward.
It was a huge relief to speak to someone who immediately understood our situation.
It's such a complex condition.
Every day is different.
Every family is different.
Dementia UK is the only specialist dementia nursing charity that is there for the whole family.
Their specialist nurses are known as Admiral Nurses, and they are a lifeline to people.
Like me and my sister.
Just being able to speak to a specialist dementia nurse, it's
Priceless.
It's vital.
We give advice and emotional support.
But it's the knowledge and experience they have.
Like knowing how we'll cope if Mum stops recognising us.
It makes it a little less daunting to deal with.
knowing where and how to get that expert help.
It was a game changer.
Specialist dementia nurses like me can mean the difference for people between coping and not.
Admiral Nurses support anyone affected by dementia, including people who are living with the condition, their families and care partners. We offer them advice and support and signpost them to relevant services. We also support people in the community who have questions or concerns about someone they are in contact with, such as neighbours or members of the public. Professionals can also contact us for expert advice and guidance around dementia. So how can an Admiral nurse help? Admiral nurses provide tailored, emotional and practical support with all aspects of dementia. For example, communication skills and techniques, preventing and approaching changes in behaviour and unmet needs, understanding and applying for financial benefits, emotional and psychological support, planning for the future, signposting to other services, choosing care and support and managing the transition into a care home, and building links with health and social care professionals. Our support is not limited to just these areas. We will support people with any topics around dementia. We will now go through a common scenario that we encounter on the helpline. We receive a call from a lady who is quite distressed. Her husband has mixed Alzheimer's disease and vascular dementia. He has become more restless in the early evening and keeps asking to go home, even though he is already at home. This has been happening for the last 2 weeks. His wife tells him he is at home, but this frustrates him more. His wife is struggling with this and she gets no respite or rest in her caring role. The Admiral nurse explores possible reasons for the recent change in behaviour, including possible physical causes such as an infection, looking into environmental factors or changes in routine. They also explain why people living with a dementia can become disorientated and not recognise their surroundings. The Admiral nurse gives the caller advice on ruling out physical causes by requesting an appointment with the GP, advice around effective communication with her husband, including validating his feelings, not challenging his reality, and using distraction. The Admiral nurse explains the importance of routines and activity and stimulation throughout the day and week. The Admiral nurse encourages the caller to explore external support that would help her in her caring role and allow her some rest and respite. This may be through social activities or formal care packages. These are the topics we get asked most frequently about. How to get a diagnosis, different types of dementia, what are the symptoms of dementia, financial and legal sources of support, changes in behaviour such as sundowning or false beliefs, and how to keep safe as a care partner. Again, our support is not limited to these topics. we will support with all things dementia related. This is testimony from Ricky, who provided care for his gran. Living with dementia is isolating, and you can't think clearly when you're in the thick of it. I called the Admiral Nurse Dementia Helpline many times throughout Gran's dementia journey when I needed support. The Dementia Specialist Admiral Nurses gave me practical ideas on how to keep Gran's mind active, like playing games and colouring. They encouraged me to stop correcting Gran all the time when she didn't understand things. Instead, a tender touch on the shoulder or a loving hug made her feel special and loved. I realised that making Gran feel at ease and comfortable was the most important thing I could do. I also called the helpline just to talk through how I was feeling. It's reassuring to hear that what you're going through is normal and that other people are going through similar situations. When things got too much, I could pick up the phone and speak to a dementia specialist who understood my emotions.
We've talked about how an Admiral nurse can support you, but now we will talk you through how you can access this support. Our National Dementia Helpline is open 9 AM to 9 PM Monday to Friday and 9 AM to 5 PM on weekends and bank holidays. The only day that we are closed is Christmas Day. Our number is on the screen if you wish to take a note of this. Some people prefer to email our helpline. This may be because they are less comfortable speaking on the phone or find it difficult to find a time or space to make a call. So please take a note of our email address on screen if you would like to contact us this way. We also run virtual clinic appointments, which are 45-minute appointments with an Admiral nurse at a date and time that suits you. These appointments can be held over telephone or by a Teams video call. Instructions on how to book these are on the screen, including a QR code which will take you directly to the booking page. You might want to book a virtual clinic appointment instead of using the helpline if you have an in-depth topic to discuss or if several family members would like to join the call. Dementia UK is currently working with Nationwide Building Society to provide dementia clinics. These allow you to book a free 45-minute face-to-face appointment with an Admiral nurse at your nearest branch. You do not need to be a member of Nationwide to access these appointments. The link and QR code to book a clinic appointment is on the screen. This video goes into more detail about our helpline and virtual clinics.
A diagnosis can be quite devastating for someone with dementia. They feel defined by it and often don't know where to turn for support.
It's important for carers and family members to reach out early and to be able to know that they're not alone. This is where we come in. We are specialist dementia nurses, known as Admiral Nurses.
We are that listening ear. We provide tailored support for all aspects of dementia.
We are here when you need us. You can speak to us for free on our helpline and through our virtual clinics.
The Admiral Nurse Dementia Helpline is a free national telephone service. You can call at a time that suits you. If we don't answer straight away, you can leave a message and we will call you back. You can also email us or fill in an online form and an Admiral Nurse will get back to you. No question is too big or too small. We're here to listen and offer expert advice, support and understanding. You might prefer to contact the helpline if you need to speak to a nurse more immediately during the evenings or the weekend.
In our free virtual clinics, you can book a private 45-minute appointment with a specialist dementia nurse by phone or video call. These are done remotely, so if your family are located in different places, you can join the appointment together. You might prefer to book in a virtual clinic if you don't need to speak to a nurse immediately and would like to pre-book an appointment at a time that is convenient for you. Because it's arranged in advance, it gives you the opportunity to get someone else to look after your loved one, so you can have that focused time with a nurse. On both the helpline and in our clinics, you can talk to us about any aspect of dementia.
People can use the helpline to talk about what they're going through. Sometimes it's the first time they've been able to put their emotions into words.
Admiral nurses are there to support the family no matter what question they ask around dementia.
It's about educating the family that their experience is unique and not to compare with anyone else, because it's the diagnosis affects people differently and everyone is an individual as well. We are here for you.
At Dementia UK, we run online sessions called Dementia What Next? The series of 3 sessions is designed to give people information and guidance following a diagnosis of dementia. However, you can sign up to any of the sessions at any stage, whether you're trying to get a diagnosis or are further along, if you feel it would be useful to you. The first session explores dementia itself and what it means, discussing the types of dementia, including the signs and symptoms, treatments, and possible medication. The second session focuses on financial and legal issues in dementia, including mental capacity, lasting power of attorney, benefits, and paying for care. And the third session looks at planning for the future, advanced care planning, advanced decisions, understanding care options, the end stages of dementia, and looking after yourself as a carer. You're welcome to sign up to all of the sessions or just one that is of interest to you. These sessions run on the first 3 Tuesday evenings of each month and the first 3 Friday mornings of each month. Each week correlates to the session, so session 1 takes place in the first week of the month, and so on. The link to register is on the left-hand side of the slide, or you can scan the QR code. At Dementia UK, we have consultant Admiral nurses who specialise in Lewy body dementia, young onset dementia, frailty and physical health issues, children and young people, and sport and dementia. They provide specialist support to families who are experiencing complex needs around these specific aspects of dementia. However, if there is a local Admiral nurse service in your area, you would likely be referred to them instead. If you wish to discuss if you might be eligible for support from one of our consultant Admiral nurses, please call the helpline number on the screen to discuss further. We have specialist Admiral nurses who support people within specific communities, including Black, African and Caribbean communities, the Chinese community and rural communities. Research shows that people from these backgrounds often face disparities in dementia awareness, diagnosis, and access to care. In addition to providing specialist dementia support to families, they help to make dementia care more inclusive and culturally aware. The Black, African, and Caribbean Communities Clinic can be booked directly via our website. Please contact the helpline to discuss the other services. Today, nearly 1 million people are living with dementia in the UK, including over 70,000 with young onset dementia, and many of them are in some form of employment, and thousands more are working while caring for someone with the diagnosis. Our Dementia at Work team has created resources to support employees who are living with dementia or caring for someone with dementia. The Admiral nurses also provide information and guidance to businesses on how best to work with and support employees affected by dementia. You can find more information about the team and the support they offer on our website. Dementia UK has local Admiral nurse services in many areas. These include services within GP practices, hospitals, care homes and hospice care. If you want to find out if there is a service in your area, please contact the helpline on the number given on the slide. The Royal British Legion also has Admiral nurses, so if you or someone you care for are a member or former member of any of the services, you will be eligible for their support. You can access the Royal British Legion service directly using the contact details on the slide. Some of our Admiral nurses hold smaller localised clinics around the UK. There are the rural clinics held in Dengie in Essex, which are held on the first Friday of each month. These are virtual clinics held within the Dengie Dementia Cafe. One of our Admiral nurses supports the prison service staff at the Havering, Humber and Hull prisons. She offers a monthly drop-in session for staff to ask any questions or bring a particular case for discussion for advice and support. She also holds monthly training for the staff on different topics. There is an Admiral Nurse Clinic held at Charnwood in Leicestershire. This takes place at the Gorse Covert Community Centre on the first and third Friday of the month. There is also an Admiral Nurse Clinic held in Lewes, East Sussex at the School Hill Practice. This is open to anyone registered with a GP in the Foundry Healthcare Primary Care Network. And these are held on the fourth Wednesday or Thursday of the month. If you are eligible to attend any of these clinics, please see our website at dementiauk.org or contact the helpline for more information. We have partnerships with other organisations to hold dedicated clinics for people living with dementia, their families and care partners. If you belong to any of the above organisations or would like to access our newly launched British Sign Language clinics, then please follow the link on this slide to book a clinic appointment where an Admiral nurse can give tailored advice based on your background and involvement in these organisations. The My Life with Dementia podcast shares personal accounts of people's journeys through dementia. It features people living with the diagnosis, those who have found themselves in a caring role, and those who are grieving a loved one. Admiral nurses also give practical advice and help and give a deeper understanding of the condition from different perspectives. You can access the podcast via our website or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can find lots of valuable information on the Dementia UK website. This includes access to all of our information leaflets, which can be downloaded from the site, or you can order hard copies to be posted to you directly. Dementia UK also hosts the Young Dementia Network. This was established in 2016 and is an online community for everyone living with, working with, or interested in young onset dementia, where symptoms develop before the age of 65. Everyone is united in one purpose: to improve the lives of people with young onset dementia and their families now, and to create a positive change for the future. It provides resources, research, and webinars focused on young onset dementia. There are lots of other ways you can get involved with Dementia UK. The Campaigns Network, campaigns for better care so that everyone affected by dementia gets the specialist support they deserve. You can sign up to support our campaigns at the link on the slide. Dementia UK's Lived Experience Advisory Panel, known as LEAP, is a group of people with dementia and their care partners who collaborate, advise and inform Dementia UK on the information and support that we provide. We also have a wider network of groups that we approach for insight into living with dementia, known as the Lived Experience Advisory Network, or LEAN. If you would like to share your experiences, please email our Lived Experience Coordinator, Susie Webster, whose address is on the slide. Dementia UK relies on the generous people who donate and fundraise to provide our specialist support services. If you would like to find out how to support us, please follow the link on the slide. You will also find information there about how you can volunteer for Dementia UK, for example, by helping us cheer on runners at our events. Our local Admiral Nurse services in Scotland are currently limited, but Gemma and I are part of a Scotland-wide project to help increase our reach. You can, however, access all of the Dementia UK's own services that we've discussed throughout this presentation, such as the helpline and virtual clinics. On the ground, we currently have nationwide clinics running all around Scotland, which can be booked via our website, as we explained earlier. We currently have 2 Royal British Legion nurses supporting families in Scotland. So if RBL services are appropriate for you, you can access them using their contact information, which we shared earlier. There is currently 1 Admiral Nurse service in Galashiels in the Scottish borders and a service in Orkney, which is under redevelopment. We are also working on some projects to increase our availability around Scotland. This is a work in progress, so please watch this space. Thank you for listening to our webinar. I hope you found this useful. The faces you see on this slide are part of our helpline and virtual clinics Admiral Nurse team. So if you use any of these services, you will likely be speaking to one of these people. We will now open the floor for any questions you wish to ask us.
That was really interesting. Thank you so much. Don't know if there's a few questions in the chat. We're going through. I think some of the questions might have been answered as we went through, but I don't know if you want to run through them as well.
Happy to run through them all, Ailey. That's fine.
Okay, right, I will start going through them. Okay, so we answered services about Northern Ireland, saying it was covered. So Barbara, you had asked, do you give people in Scotland the number of Alzheimer's Scotland Action on Dementia 24-hour helpline number for the hours you're closed? Oh yeah, so would you pass on a different number then for the one day that you're closed? Because it is just Christmas Day, you said that you're closed, yeah.
Yeah, so myself and, well, actually it was mostly Julie developed a document for all of our helpline and clinics team that has information about Scotland services. Alzheimer's Scotland is of course featured very heavily on that document, so anybody who's contacting the helpline, they will have a nurse has access to that information, would be able to pass that information on. So that is certainly something that we do. Is there anything that you would add on to that there, Julie?
Yeah, just that we would always signpost onto any other services if there was something that we couldn't fulfill, or if we felt that it was better suited to a different charity or a different service, for example. So yeah, we would always signpost onto other charities and other services if needs be.
That's great, perfect. That's amazing that it's only Christmas Day that you're shut. That's pretty impressive. That's a lot to cover. It's great. So we've got, what else to do? Do you have staff trained specifically in devolved nations, legal and benefit situations? And what areas of Scotland are covered on the ground by nurses? I think you touched on that, I think, a little bit later on, didn't you?
Yeah, so we don't have anybody specifically trained in the legal and financial side of things. As we've said, we're nurses, so we're not specialists in the legal and financial side of things. So again, we will signpost onto relevant services. We obviously have some knowledge and some experience around these areas that we will share with people when they contact us. But yeah, we will usually signpost onto other services, whether that's citizens advice, social work if it's more related to social work type things, or we do work closely with a service called Pathways Through Dementia, which is a free legal and financial service for people living with dementia around legal and financial things. So yeah, we will signpost onto relevant services that can maybe help with any queries more specifically around that. And the areas of Scotland that are covered, yes, we covered that. So hopefully that's answered that question. Yes, we're quite thin on the ground still at the moment. We do just have that one hosted service at the moment in the Galashiels borders area, and the Orkney service, which is under redevelopment. But as we said in the presentation, myself and Gemma are working to hopefully improve our reach and improve our visibility around Scotland as well, so that people can access us a lot freer around the country.
Yeah, and just to say, we recognise that there's the differences between the nations in regards to sort of the legal and financial benefits, and our helpline covers the whole country, and so a lot of our nurses are based in England, so they will have had the experience with the English system. So again, as part of that document that we created for our colleagues, is to give them that information on how things are different in Scotland, and also there's a Northern Ireland document as well for how things are different there as well, so that whoever is calling the helpline is getting the accurate information for that country. So yeah, good question to ask, as there's differences between each of the countries.
Yeah, that's great. There's been another question as well about on the ground in Scotland, and if we're going to expand, and you've covered that as well. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm ignoring you there, but I think we've covered your question there. So we've got more people joining us a little bit late, so I'm just letting them in as well. Sorry. Else we've then got is Elizabeth. You've asked, had a request from one of my carers to facilitate a dementia and intimacy talk for YOD. Can you tell me who I'd contact for this topic?
Okay, I think it would depend on what that scenario is. If it is a sort of specific carer and person with dementia conversation to facilitate, then that could possibly be relevant for our consultant admiral nurse with young onset dementia, if it's a sort of clinical discussion that's needed. If it would be more of a sort of educational talk around dementia and intimacy, then we would probably recommend that you contact the helpline with the details on what that talk involves, and then we can forward that information on to our clinical requests team, who then can arrange for a more sort of educational group type discussion. So it would just depend on what type of scenario that is specifically. Do you have anything that you would add to that, Julie?
No, I think you've covered everything. Yeah, I was just going to say about emailing into the helpline, and then we can pass that on to clinical requests, and then it can be sorted out by the relevant people.
Katrina has asked, does the podcast support care staff working in residential homes too? They often have little access to knowledge to support residents living with a dementia.
So the podcast is mostly from carers or people living with dementia's perspective and their journey and their experience of dementia. There is a section within each of the episodes where there's two admiral nurses. Actually, one of them is our CEO, Hilda, who give information from more of a clinical perspective and from that nursing perspective around the scenario that's been discussed within the podcast episode. We spoke about in our presentation about our Dementia What Next webinars that we run. So the first session, what is dementia? That might be something that the care staff, it's not just for carers or people living with dementia to sign up to, anybody could sign up to them. So that might be a useful resource for the carers within the care staff to sign up to and maybe get some of that knowledge there.
Yeah, good point, Julie. And I think the other thing that we arrange as a charity is that we run a summer school every year, which is open to all professionals, and Dementia UK has a YouTube channel that has previous year's sessions on there, which are sort of more tailored towards professionals with dementia. So if that's something that a specific care home would like to answer or access, then you could go on to the Dementia UK YouTube page or sign up to this year's summer school as well, which will have lots of different topics on dementia.
Perfect, that's great. So Barbara has asked, what access do you have to advise help from other dementia specialists, for example, allied health professionals?
Okay, so we are a Dementia Nurse charity, so all of our clinics are coming from a nursing background mostly. But as we've said, it's when we recognise that a clinical case is perhaps needing a more specialist or a different health professional involved, then we will advise that, we'll signpost to that, and then explain what that service would usually be focused on. So certainly with us on the helpline and clinics, we've all got a vast amount of clinical experience prior to working on the helpline and clinics. So we've been involved in different backgrounds, such as an hospital-based, hospice-based, community-based. So we've all got that sort of clinical background as well to understand that other health professionals will need to be involved at certain times, but we don't have them within the charity. Is there anything else that you would add to that, Julie?
Yeah, and just depending on what the topic of conversation may be, again, we'll kind of signpost, to speak to GP if that's a relevant thing to do, and maybe if it's relevant, to refer back to any memory service for any reviews, or making contact with social care or whoever the relevant person is. Although we're dementia specialist nurses, well, obviously we have all the clinical knowledge and experience behind us, but clinically we can't intervene with any of the care as such. So our role is purely advice, support, signposting, and giving that sort of clinical expertise and that guidance around who to go to for what, and what things to try, etc. So yeah.
That's great, thank you. Roisin is wondering if there's an Admiral nurse that's based in Northern Ireland.
So there is, and there's only one that I'm aware of, and she is the one that runs the nationwide clinics around Northern Ireland. Lauren's her name. So I'm not aware. I don't think there is anybody else who works on the helpline that's based in Northern Ireland, but yeah, it's just Lauren who does the nationwide clinics at the moment.
And Shona is asking if you provide any specific support to those with a learning disability and their carers, especially as individuals with Down syndrome can show signs of dementia much earlier than the general population.
It's a really good question, Shona. It's certainly something that we come across on the helpline and in our clinic appointments, and some of us will have had experience, clinically and working with people with learning disabilities. It's not something that we have a specific service on, although we do get webinars, and I think we've had a recent webinar on intellectual disability and dementia. So it is something that the charity provides us with sort of training and information on how we can support people better, but we don't have a specific service on that. Although people can still access all of our services, and we'll support them as best we can.
I think as well, Sean, we were speaking about this earlier on. Our last webinar that we ran was on intellectual disability and dementia, and it was run by Professor Karen Watchman, who's one of the leading experts in that field. So that's available to rewatch if you haven't already seen that on our website. So you'll be able to, if you just go to dementia.ac.uk, it's on our news page there, so you can go through and watch that again. And in that, Karen does refer to the fact that it is under research and there's a lot more needing to be done there, but we are coming along leaps and bounds as to where we were even 10 years ago. So hopefully between the service of Admiral Nurses and that webinar as well, we can hopefully piece together some and we'll be able to improve things as we go. Christopher has said, are you reaching out to the service providers about service you deliver within Scotland? This may support providers to help signpost users of the service, families, carers to your service to help support them with questions that the providers are not able to answer.
Yeah, so we're definitely trying to, as part of our wider Scotland project, we're trying to reach out and do some of that networking with some of the other providers, other charities around Scotland. We've attended quite a few sort of carer events. We did one in Lanarkshire just not that long ago as well, just to kind of share our remit with some of the beneficiaries in that area. So we are trying to attend some localized events as well, just to try and you know, advertise, I suppose, our service, and share what we can provide in terms of care and support to people. So we are trying lots of networking. We've networking with Alzheimer's Scotland, Age Scotland, Playlist for Life, many others I can't think off the top of my head, but yes, we are certainly trying to make those connections. And we're working with our business development team to more of a strategic level, getting in sort of contact with some of the NHS services and more of the policy side of things and campaign side of things as well. So it is a work in progress, and at the moment it's just a lot of word of mouth, and Gemma and I are doing a lot of work sort of on the ground trying to get ourselves visible as much as we can, but there will hopefully be bigger opportunities to get the connection as time goes on.
Yeah, I would say if you are attending as a professional, if you have a service and you are wanting to give information or sort of put up posters or things like that around the service to advise the people with dementia, their families or carers that attend your service, you can order these for free on our Dementia UK website. You can order posters, you can order leaflets, and we encourage people to have them up on sort of notice boards and within clinics or practices, that sort of thing. So please, if that's something that you would, it would certainly be we'd be happy to have more people be aware of us and use our service, and it's part of the reason why we're doing this type of outreach as well, is to improve the awareness. So if that's something that anybody who's attending is able to do, that would be wonderful. Please do that.
Perfect. Fiona is asking, what supported advice do you give families that are struggling with the effects of dementia, for example, not being recognised anymore?
So this is something that with every call that we get to the helpline, with every appointment that we have in clinics, it's certainly something that we come across quite a lot. So what we'll tend to do is try to get as much information about the situation as possible, try to get as much detail around what that distress might look like, times of day, any possible triggers, just trying to get as much information as possible so that we can provide that sort of personalised advice. And one of the big things I think that we can offer as a service is that we have the luxury of time in order to give that person who's calling us as much time as they need to go through that explanation, to get things off of their chest, and to explore that situation with us as much as possible. We will give that sort of specific advice based on that sort of personalised scenario and the situation, and then we'll also sort of make sure that sometimes having that listening ear, having that space to be able to sort of share and explain things is almost as helpful as the strategies that we will provide as well on things that could possibly be put in place or could possibly change. So it is something that we come across quite a lot, got a lot of experience with, but because it is such a personalised situation, we try to get as much information about that as possible. Anything that you would add to that, Julie?
Yeah, and I guess just if it's a carer calling us, we'll give them that little bit of education as to why it might be happening, so that education around some people who live with dementia sometimes experience a bit of an altered reality or time shifting in their dementia journey, where they can revert back in time sometimes. So their experience might be, and their reality might be, say 20, 30 years ago. So that's maybe why they're
maybe not fully recognizing or understanding the current situation. And another topic of conversation usually is, this is at my home, and again, it's that similar thing of time shifting and going back in time, because their reality is that they live in a different previous house that they've lived in. So sometimes by giving that little bit of education to the people who call us as well, can help them to understand why it's happening for that person, and then, you know, giving them a bit of education around communication techniques as well, and using distractions and meaningful activity routines and things like that as well. So yeah, there's a lot can go into our calls, depending on, you know, what the topics of conversation are. You know, we cover most things in quite a lot of detail.
Oh, thank you. I came across as well, I think, in the PowerPoint too, just talking about, you know, all the different types of services you offer and how individualised it is, obviously depending on the person themselves, the type of dementia they have. So yeah, that was really good to see that coming across there too. And the final question, I think, is from Libby, who said she's new to her role as a dementia support coordinator. Congratulations on the new job. And she would like to expand her knowledge on how to best provide emotional support to individuals and families. Any techniques or strategies would be helpful.
So yeah, so it's probably something that's probably going to take a little bit more time than we have today on this webinar. So what you could do is you could maybe give us an email on the helpline, or give us a call. We do support professionals as well, and so not just people living with dementia or their carers. So if you want to give us a call, and then we can chat through some specific techniques and strategies or specific scenarios that you might have come across. And again, some of the webinars that we spoke about, the summer school, those resources might be really helpful for you as well.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you. I think everything else, I hope I've answered or asked you all the questions that have been asked in there. If I've missed anything, so I'm really sorry. Just either pop your hand up, or you could message us as well. We'll pick that up later and get back to you. I think every other comment is really just saying thank you. Christopher's come back. Thank you for answering the question, and we'll be bringing the knowledge to services that I help visit and help signpost to them. So
thank you.
It's been really good. It's been really good to see what's available, and obviously I think this will be very beneficial to people, not just in Scotland but nationwide as well, to be able to access the service. Like I said, I will share this, so I've been recording this. I will download this presentation and we'll share it again, so you can refer back to it, you can watch it. It'll help you be able to scan the QR code, get the links to everything. I know I'm going to go back and rewatch bits of it, because there's bits I missed when I was taking notes down, so I'm going to go back and look at it again. I did think as well, one thing I could try and do is either get a link from you both, either for where you can find the list of the sessions at the nationwide branches, or if there's specific dates coming up, I could put that on the website alongside the recording. And you've also sent me on the additional sheet for references, so I'll share that on there too. So if there's anything else, we'll put it there. I'll share an email address on there. I'll email all out to you through Eventbrite, as well as put it on the website, and I'll also give you an email address on there that you can email us if you've got any further questions. But thank you, Julie and Gemma, thank you so much. That was really, really interesting. Thank you very much. I know I learned a lot. I can see everyone else popping in saying thank you as well. Thanks everyone else for coming. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll speak to you all later. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Bye.